Hello, everybody out there.
Well, I didn't get mine going yet.
We are getting ready. I'm on mine.
Oh.
Let's get to yours.
Oh, hey, everybody from
Yay.
AJ's Crowell.
Oh, yay.
All right. I am live.
We're live. Oh, wow. Okay. Hi, everybody. Yay. So I'm AJ, and we are with Ken Goldberg, Law and Disorder, and with AJ, the co-host. Yay. Ken is an attorney in 3 different states and a former Buddhist monk and Jewish. Who the hell knows? You know, he's just sort of a combination of God only knows what. It just is what he is.
Isn't there a song with God only knows?
I think there might be. I'm not real sure.
You know, if I am, my computer tied up with all this stuff. I didn't look.
Really? You're going to look?
That's a great song.
Really? We can't play it. No. We can't play it. We'll get in trouble.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, we can't play it. We'll get in trouble. We got in trouble for playing music. We're not allowed to do that. So, yeah. All right. So, what are we about? Tell our friends.
The lyric is running through my head.
Ken Goldberg's Law and Disorder. Ken used to have a radio show here in the DFW Metroplex for, well, it's been a while, but for quite a while.
I used to have a gun range here too.
Yes, he did. He used to have clubs also. So, you know, what can you say?
What can you say?
Not much.
You know what else? I had an automotive shop at one time.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And a yogurt shop.
You did not have a yogurt.
I had a frozen yogurt shop.
Oh, yogurt. I thought you said yoga. I was like, why am I just hearing this?
Not likely.
And I published Dallas Yoga Magazine.
That's www.dallasyogamagazine.com.
You are so good. Wow. That is why he is an attorney in 3 states.
Yeah.
He is sharper than the average cat.
I can pass the bar anywhere.
Wow. You must be a good test taker.
I am a good test taker. I'm really crappy at homework.
And you fall asleep in class.
I did.
On a regular basis.
But you
absorbed while you were asleep.
I absorbed a lot, and I'm going to tell you something. What I didn't learn while I was sleeping, I didn't need to know, actually.
How do you know this?
Well, because I've been practicing for 33 years, and a lot of that stuff hasn't come up.
How do you know? You were sleeping. You don't know what it was.
Oh, well, that's a good point. Well, sometimes, hi, Kathy. Sometimes I'm asked a question about the law, about an area of law. About the law.
The law. Okay. About law.
And I don't. It's not an area I practice in, but I'll answer the question anyways because I remember it from law school.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, that's impressive.
So tonight's show is going to be quite earth-shattering.
Earth-shattering.
We're going to rock this place.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right. So.
All right. So, what is our first topic?
Well, I thought we'd kick off the show with a little prayer and meditation.
Oh my God.
As that's Ken.
Oh my lordy.
Well,
Namaste.
I wouldn't be bad, but
Namaste.
not for this.
Not for this show. Yeah, no. Not a good idea.
I could play my djembes.
Okay, no, that's okay. I think we should get right at it.
Yeah.
Jump right in.
I better just get right to it then.
There you go.
Just cut out all the other crap. Go right in.
Yeah.
Like heart surgery.
There you go. I know. That would be good.
Yeah. I mean, look, the heart surgeon doesn't stand around and give you a vasectomy beforehand. They get right to it. Okay. They don't like open up your skull.
So I'm going to share with you what my friend did this week. So my friend had a heartbeat of over 200 and she went to the hospital and she decided that she was going to get in her car and drive to a hospital closer to home with a heartbeat of over 200. Now, I love you, girlfriend, but that is not smart. Don't ever, ever, ever do that again. There we go.
And I'm not sure what that had to do with this show.
Nothing. I just thought I'd throw that
so much
over 200. And she gets in her car and drives.
I love
my friend. I want her around. Oh my God.
I had a friend who died. She was doing methamphetamine. Her heart was racing for I don't know how many hours. She wouldn't go to the hospital because she was afraid they'd find meth in her system. And she thought that would get her in trouble. And when she told me about it later on, I said, no.
You just go.
They're not going to call anybody.
Right.
They're just going to treat you for a speeding heart.
Right.
You know? And
maybe put her in rehab, which she obviously needed.
So, well, that's not my arena. My arena was save your life.
Right.
She died in her daughter's driveway. They found her dead.
That's so sad.
Methamphetamine. I mean, meth didn't kill her.
My friend is sober, so that's not the issue. However,
I wasn't blaming your friend for being on meth. Try not to get defensive. And now let's get on with the show.
I'm going to touch you.
Jesus. So guns, lawyers, and money. That's another song, but we can't play that one either because
we can't.
Because we broadcast.
We got in trouble, but we put a song.
Oh, look, Rosie says, "Get back to the program."
Get back to the program.
All right. So
I'm touching you.
Judge blocks White House from allowing downloads of 3D printed gun blueprints. I didn't know this. Let me read this to you. If you have an interest in guns, gun safety, gun control, gun liberties, Second Amendment, this should be of interest to you. So everybody listening should have a stake in this one. A federal judge Tuesday struck down the Trump administration's effort to allow blueprints for making guns from 3D printers to be posted online.
What would be the advantage of that?
So that's why I want to read this, because I'm confused why they would have been on that side.
Well, it doesn't
really say. I
can
see them not being on the side. So this defense distributor, remember everybody, let's put it all in context. About 3 years ago, I'm guessing, a young man took a 3D printer and he printed a plastic gun, which would have no, I don't know enough about it, but I imagine it would have no magnetic print, which means it could probably go through an X-ray machine undetected.
The only thing you would need, am I correct, would be the pin would have to be metal inside.
That seems to be sensible, but
right? Okay.
I would think the barrel needs to be steel, as is on all the guns I have. The barrel is always steel, but I don't think these guns shoot a lot of rounds, and they probably shoot the smallest calibers so that the amount of support needed to contain the compression so as to push the bullet out. Should we talk about how a bullet works?
Well, couldn't they have the pin hidden in their suitcase and the barrel that goes inside the plastic?
Sure, firing
held right, exactly, in somewhere else in their suitcase, and then when they get to the place, they just put it together.
So people call and criticize the show, and I want to say this: we're more than open to critique.
Okay,
not a lot of people.
I was going, really?
No, but I want to say you can always either type in your own issues if you're watching, or you can send us an email at ken@law-deshore.com.
There you go.
All right. So, this kid, he started this. I think he started this thing called Defense Distributed, Texas-based. Of course, it's got to be Texas.
Right.
Nonprofit to publish downloadable blueprints for the untraceable, undetectable, mainly plastic firearm.
Right.
As part of a June 2018 legal settlement. So the State Department previously had apparently published that, or had argued that publishing such instructions could threaten U.S. foreign policy, national security, and even world peace by enabling criminals, including terrorists outside the United States, to obtain firearms. So this seemed to be a significant security risk. In my head, even though I carry a gun, I have no use for a 3D untraceable gun.
Right. I
have a firearm card. I have a permit that allows me to carry concealed.
License.
Thank you. They said that the defendants in this case offered nothing. It said that the agency which allowed this in the Trump administration, Department of Justice or who, acted arbitrary and capricious. In other words, they had no reason to act.
The whole thing's weird. I'm sorry. The whole thing's weird.
Okay. So the Department of Justice is considering what they're going to do. Lawyers for Defense Distributed are being quiet for the moment. So gun rights advocates have said fears about posting the blueprints were overblown. You may have an opinion, and you're welcome to share your opinion. Concerns about the posting of the blueprints, which would reveal for anybody who had access to the internet how to make a firearm. And I don't know how effective this firearm is. I don't know its range. I assume it doesn't have a lot of range. I assume it doesn't have a lot of power. You know, there were zip guns when I was a kid, and they were essentially a piece of pipe, a rubber band, and a piece of metal.
Yeah, but this is more than that.
Well, yeah, I understand that. I'm just saying. This is a modern day zip gun, though. It can't be it can't shoot a lot of bullets. The deterioration would take place in the barrel and in the chamber would be significant and fairly quick, and the thing would.
Okay, but they could get one off.
Yes.
There you go.
Well, that's what a zip gun was. That's why I brought it up.
Yeah, but was it using a real bullet? The zip gun?
Yeah. I used a 22.
Oh, okay. Didn't realize that. I thought it didn't use a real bullet.
So, so some of the states that were against this had argued that that they didn't understand, they said in their pleadings, why the Trump administration worked so hard to allow domestic abusers, felonists, and terrorists access to untraceable and detectable 3D guns.
What would be the reason? It doesn't say any. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, it's interesting. Nothing makes sense. But Trump, as president, one day tweeted that he was looking into this whole sale of 3D guns and said he had spoken to the NRA, and he said he didn't think that it made much sense, these guns. But he didn't take any affirmative action to restrict the publication of the blueprints. So
I don't know. The whole thing's strange to me. I mean, because it's been proven those guns work.
There's a video of the guy, I think, when he first did it, there's a video of him shooting it.
Right.
Maybe for today's show, I should have spent more time on it, but I worked hard to come up with all these cases.
I know you do.
God in heaven. All right. More guns, lawyers, money. No, guns. Okay. Today's really, 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 really kind of significant in the gun control arena. This next case may ultimately turn out to be monumental. Okay. Although that last one's no small potatoes, frankly.
But in all seriousness, if somebody wants those plans, the plans are out there on the web. It's just that they're not easily accessible.
Rosie the welder, right? World War II. Mm-hmm. Should she be building a gun? She probably isn't going on the dark net. Yeah. So this next case is derived from Sandy Hook. Sandy Hook was that big shooting up in the Northeast where a bunch of kids got killed. Okay. So school shooting. Yes, a good big school shooting. Mm-hmm. After that, people wanted to sue the manufacturer of the AR-15. Now, there are several manufacturers of what we call AR-15s. AR-15 is a rifle that was designed for the military by oh God, all of a sudden my brain goes blank. Anyways, it was designed as part of a, when the Army puts out a request for proposals kind of thing. So this was submitted, and the AR-15 was ultimately made into a fully automatic weapon called the M16, and the AR-15, which didn't have as much utility to the military, became a civilian gun when Colt introduced it into the civilian and law enforcement market. So the AR-15 is a military-style rifle. I don't know that calling it an assault weapon is fair.
How many bullets does it shoot, at one time, without having to reload?
Well, that depends upon the magazine you use.
Oh, okay.
There's magazines that hold probably 10 rounds.
So it holds a lot.
So it holds 30.
Okay.
But it's semi-automatic. You have to squeeze the trigger each time. Okay. The one that the military uses is fully automatic and or has a 3-shot burst. Hold the trigger down and 3 rounds go out.
Gotcha.
Nothing is sold over the counter in the rifle category that resembles automatic. Okay. You can buy fully automatic weapons, but that's much more regulated, much more expensive market.
Okay.
So, so the AR-15 has been involved in almost every single major mass shooting.
Was that the Las Vegas shooting too?
5 years. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, so this kid, as you may recall, he shot his mom at home. Then he went to school and he shot up everybody. I don't know how many he got. I don't remember.
It was awful.
Yeah, it was bad. So I guess
little kids.
I guess Remington made this particular model. Colt makes it. Lots of people make it. Just to be fair, sometime before this shooting, the feds, the legislature, Congress passed a law that you couldn't sue a firearms manufacturer for putting into the stream of commerce a firearm, unless it was faulty in its the way it was designed to be used.
Unless something happened,
you squeeze the trigger, it blows up.
Their responsibility.
But you couldn't go after them for almost any reason. Right now, who do we think would have helped lobby for that legislation? Let's think for a moment. Well, let's follow the money. I'm guessing manufacturers of firearms would have done that.
Yep.
Okay. So some of the families in from Newtown. Oh no, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Newtown.
Yeah, because
Sandy Hook was what? Wait.
But the gun manufacturing is close to Sandy Hook. It's in the area.
So they're suing. Some of the families are suing, and they're going after the manufacturer of the AR-15 for damages that arose out of this. So the Connecticut Supreme Court had previously ruled on a small majority, 4-3, that the lawsuit could proceed because they said there was an exemption in the federal law. You put a question mark. I don't know what the exemption is.
Because that seems important. Like what exemption was this that allowed them to move on?
So previous to this, a lower court said you just can't do this. You can't sue them. Sorry, threw the case out. Connecticut Supreme Court said no, they can sue them, but we don't see how they're going to win.
Right.
They literally said,
pretty much said that.
Yeah, we don't see how they're going to win. You know,
they said the Herculean task.
Yes,
is what they called
obstacles to prevailing are going to be Herculean.
Herculean task,
and which is based on Hercules. For those you
really,
no, you can't assume. You know, you always tell me don't assume people know what I'm talking about.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Yes.
So,
why do you think? I don't think that. I think they're not going to win. Are they just doing it to make a point? Or they do? Did they?
No,
how do they think they're going to win? I mean, I just don't see how they're going to win.
Well, they may hope that the law itself gets ruled unconstitutional.
Oh, okay.
Okay, but you have to litigate.
Gotcha.
Right?
Yeah.
So.
So they're trying to overturn the law. Is that right?
I'm pretty sure that's one of the underlying reasons for it. So the Supreme Court of the United States refused to review the Connecticut Supreme Court's decision. So the U.S. Supreme Court did not say one way or the other whether the
Isn't that
law
nice just to say, no, I'm not going to look at it. Sorry.
Well, that's meaningful in our country.
Okay. Because that's like
the Supreme Court refuses to take it, whatever's going on below is prevailing.
Okay.
Okay. So, hey, Aaron. So I had the Supreme Court jumped in and said, we're going to take this case. They could have ruled the family's gone and that's it.
Okay.
That's it. Or they could rule that.
But they're pretty much leaving it to the state.
By not interfering, they're allowing the lawsuit to go forward. If this lawsuit prevails, arms manufacturers will be in deep doo-doo. Why
did they go to the Supreme Court, federal Supreme Court, instead of going just to the Supreme Court of the state?
No, they already did.
Okay, but it's already gone through and the trial's been held? No,
there's been no trial.
Right.
So the judge kicked it out at the trial level. He just said, you can't even bring this lawsuit against the manufacturer of the AR-15.
Got it.
So it got appealed.
Right.
And it got all the way to the Supreme Court of that state.
Correct.
They said, no, judge, reinstate the lawsuit. Let it proceed. So then the other side argues it.
Okay.
And it worked its way to the Supreme Court.
Okay, I got
and
lost.
The Supreme Court says, you don't get it?
No, because I thought that they had to have a trial at at the state Supreme Court before they were able to go to the Supreme Court of the United States.
I'm not sure what you're saying, but if you're having trouble out there like she's having,
okay,
there's been no trial.
Okay.
There can't be a trial until until it goes back to the first court. The original court is the only one that will have a trial.
Okay.
Follow?
Yes.
Okay. So, hey, Leah. So, just so everybody's on board with us, there has not been a trial on liability yet or damages.
Okay.
What happened was a suit was filed in Connecticut District Court or State Court said, no can do. This law says you can't do this. So we are kicking this case to the curb. All right. So the case kicked. So whoever lost at that level says, oh, wait a second, we're not going to accept that. So they filed, and so I don't know how many levels it went through, but it got to the Supreme Court of the state.
Correct.
Yeah. And they said, yeah, no. Now, the Supreme Court controls all the federal courts across the country. Connecticut State Court only controls the state courts in Connecticut. So their decision is very limiting. By the Supreme Court kicking this case away, they may be signaling that this case could be brought anywhere.
Right.
Okay? All right. So now I want to talk about something besides guns.
Thank you.
I don't see any questions. I don't want to be a spoil sport, okay?
Really?
Okay, I sort of do.
We all know you better than that, Ken.
Well, we try to stay away from politics to some extent, right? But Stephen Miller kind of begs our attention. Stephen Miller is, I don't even know, what is his job?
I don't know. I was going to ask you because I got confused.
It says here he's a top immigration advisor to the president. I don't know if I didn't know that that's an official position.
Maybe his job is BJ to the president.
He's an advisor. Well, he's a force unto himself. He's been a force for a long time. He's a Jewish man, and he's virulently, apparently, I've never met him, anti-immigration.
Yes.
Well, no, anti-immigration people of color. He doesn't like people from Africa and South America and stuff. He's pretty cool with Norway. So if there's a lot of Norwegians waiting to get in the country, your moment is now. While Stephen Miller is doing the deal, if you want to get here from Norway or any Scandinavian country, man, the door is just waiting for you. Knock lightly. We may be sleeping, but we will answer. Okay. So somebody at Breitbart, which is that right-wing site.
Yes.
Very right.
Bad.
Yeah. Somebody there is pissed.
Yes.
At Stephen Miller.
Yes.
So they sent copies of his emails to them.
That was good.
Which they're allowed to do, right? And they gave it to the media. Okay. The Southern Poverty Law Center, which I've declared are friends of mine, despite the fact that apparently they're controversial because some of you think they're maybe a tool of the dark state that's trying to overthrow the government.
Is this the new thing?
Well, it's just the Southern Poverty Law Center because they monitor hate crimes. The hate groups hate them.
Wow.
Yeah. So they published some of his emails. And the thing about it is that it only confirmed what everybody kind of already knew. The guy's kind of a pig. And he cited in one of his, the Pope said he thought that we need to get rid of borders. That's never happening. And the Pope is probably just being more spiritually.
Right. Pope's got to say that.
Progressively spiritual.
Right.
Right. And so as a retort, Miller pointed out the effect of getting rid of borders by citing a book called Camp of the Saints, a 1973 French novel that's become a favorite among white nationalists. And here's why. The book's plot centers on a horde of 800,000 Indians floating towards the French Riviera, and I assume they mean East Indians.
I'm assuming.
And led by a man called
the
Turd Eater, okay, who eats feces.
Okay.
The author implies that the solution to this invasion would be to kill them all, massacre them as soon as they arrive. But empathy gets in the way. The Indians land and they conquer France.
They conquer it.
So Stephen Miller, who is the immigration advisor to the president of the United States, is citing a book written in 1973 about a turd eater. All right. So then there's this thing that,
those poor French really have a hard time in war, don't they?
There was a movement to stop Amazon and Walmart from selling Confederate flags, right? And because I know this is controversial in Texas, but not so much elsewhere. The Confederate flag represented the southern states, the Confederacy, which was advocating slavery when the North, under Lincoln, advocated for the abolition of slavery.
Mm-hmm.
And there was this brutal war, probably one of the most brutal in the history of certainly of the United States.
Mm-hmm.
And the Confederacy lost.
Yes.
So,
it's called the Civil War.
Yes. So now people who like the flag say, well, it's kind of our ethnic.
Well, it's part of a lot of people's heritage. I'm not saying it should be there or not. I'm just saying I think it's part of their.
Well, heritage. That's what they're saying.
Like the sisters of the Confederacy and the daughters of the Confederacy, were.
After World War II, the Nazi flag was outlawed in Germany. Mm-hmm. Being a member of the Nazi Party was outlawed. Mm-hmm. I love that meme that says, you want the Confederate flag and the Nazi flag? You're 0 for 2. You lost both wars. You're 0 for 2.
That's funny.
We fought wars over this.
Well, so, I don't like the Confederate flag being flown. I don't like it. It bothers me. And it bothers me when I see it on motorcycles.
Well, Stephen Miller.
It bothers me.
Stephen Miller says 22.6% of Southern men who were between the ages of 20 and 24 in 1860 lost their lives because of the war. And as the article points out, he forgets to mention they lost it in defense of slavery.
Right.
So, and then he cites Calvin Coolidge, who was another rabid anti-immigration guy. He was a president of the United States. And Coolidge, like Stephen Miller, like Trump, has nice things to say about the Nordics. This is good stuff here. The Nordics,
white people,
propagate themselves successfully. Propagate. They have babies. Woo. Okay, successfully.
They repopulate. How's that?
Maybe that's another way of saying it. With other races, the outcome shows deterioration on both sides. Quality of mind and body suggests that observance of ethnic law is as great a necessity to a nation as immigration law. What he's saying is that
no diversity.
The Germans had it right.
Yes, that's pretty much what he is saying.
Yes. So it's almost 6:30. We're halfway through the show.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I don't know. Do we have enough material?
We have all those other articles over there too.
All right. So you notice I asked for questions to see, but nobody's writing questions.
It's okay. We're doing a good job.
It's supposed to be kind of a group growth.
Yeah. Group growth. I like that. Group us. Come on. Group growth.
So listen, the whole point of this is not.
There's a point.
Yeah, there is. There really is. Because listen, AJ and I, we belong in national media. We belong there. And I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Yeah, we belong in the national media because
there's nobody like us out there.
There's nobody like us. We're effervescent, entertaining, intelligent.
And good looking. Don't forget we're good looking.
What does no cues mean? No questions. She's getting it. No questions.
Okay.
All right. So we belong in the national media. somebody needs to bring balance. Now, when I had Law and Disorder on KYNG, they liked my show, and I'm going to tell you why. Because I was a gun owner, and I advocated very strongly for proper gun limitations, but generally liberal about gun ownership. At the same time, I saw for instance, the marijuana issue as being identical. People should be allowed to have marijuana, just like people should be allowed to have guns. In other words, it's personal choice. And the two should be cognizant and sympathetic to this issue of personal liberties. So the show became popular
liberties
on the right and the left. Okay. But doesn't happen anymore.
No.
The division's growing, and I'm saying that you and I, at some level, can at least modestly bring some right and left back together. We're not going to blame the president. Yes, we will. But we're going to stay away from that. So we belong in national media, and we're working it out with you guys. We're working out the kinks, and we're trying to get better at it. Well, hush my puppies. Is there something wrong?
No, I love it.
There's video.
I love it.
I
love it.
When I was on the radio, I didn't have to move. I could sit there. I could show up in my pajamas. All right. So.
Yes.
Having said that, I asked you a question you never answered.
Oh, okay.
Before we move away from guns completely, which we already did with immigration, should we have explained how a bullet works?
Because we were talking about the plastic guns.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
I asked you and you never answered.
I apologize. We moved on quickly.
All right. Well, I think if you know nothing about guns, and most of you know next to nothing about guns, it's important to know something about them. All decisions should be based on education and experience, not ignorance and fear.
Correct. Most people are based on ignorance and fear.
I don't have a problem with people being anti-gun. I don't, at this point, I don't. But most of it is based on ignorance and fear. It's not the media.
Well, that's the same with diversity. People against that, ignorance and fear.
Yes.
Same thing.
Correct. So understanding. So while knowing how a bullet works isn't necessarily critical to you understanding gun control.
No, but the 3D printed gun, I think it's important to understand if it's going to work or not.
Okay. So every firearm shoots a cartridge. A cartridge is comprised of a case and a bullet. We use the term bullet generically. It's like talking about tissues.
It's a bullet.
Okay. In its original form, when you buy a box of cartridges, you go to Walmart, if you were buying ammo, you'd be buying 50 cartridges. Now, so inside the case is gunpowder, and at the end of the case, facing the firing pin, is a primer, and that primer has a highly volatile mix of gunpowder and lead, and so that when any firearm is fired, doesn't matter which firearm, any firearm, that's why it's a firearm. When the hammer or the firing pin goes forward and hits the rear of a cartridge,
of the bullet,
it causes a spark.
Yes.
That spark burns the gunpowder. As the gunpowder burns, it expands. And because it's in something we call a chamber, which is stronger than the cartridge, as the gas then pushes the lead, the bullet, forward, because that's the only way it can go, because there's a barrel and it travels down the barrel. The longer the barrel, the more accurate the firearm will be, and the more velocity, because as soon as it leaves the barrel, it's subject to the air, the environment, so it begins to slow down. So a rifle is the most powerful way to deliver a bullet.
Sure.
Because it's got a longer barrel and it can hold a larger round.
That's why so many people have rifles next to their beds and things like that instead of, In Texas, anyway.
Well, and let's talk about that when don't let me forget about that.
I'll try not to.
Okay, so and a shotgun, which is between a rifle and a handgun, is a really large cartridge, right? With can be two types of bullets. It can be what's called a slug, which is one piece of lead that comes out like gangster. Okay, that punch a hole in anything, or it comes out in what they call birdshot. So that's could be
sprays,
40, 50 pellets, right? And you got to know what your target's going to be in advance if you want to be effective. So that's what's happening inside every firearm. Now, every cartridge has what's a size, a diameter. It also has a length, but the diameter is more important. So people have no idea what they're saying when they talk about a firearm and they say, well, I just hear a lot of different things. But for instance, I carry a 9mm most of the time.
Okay.
9mm is almost identical in size to a 38, but 9mm is, what do you call it, the metric system?
Okay.
38 is the inch system, 0.38 of an inch. And so the 380, the 0.38, that's a 38 special. 357 Magnum, 9mm, they're all pretty much the same diameter. What changes is the case size and the bullet size, but the diameter is the same.
Okay.
So different guns are designed to hold
different bullets.
Right. The 22, which I suspect this guy's designing for, is a smaller, less powerful round. But because it's light, it can travel very fast because you're pushing the lightest of lead. Mass, what is it? Mass plus energy equals, mass plus speed equals energy.
There you go.
So if you're going to get hit, for instance, you'd rather be hit by a Geo Metro than hit by a Mack truck.
Yes.
So you'd rather.
I would.
Yeah. Well, right. You prefer.
I prefer a 22 if I'm going to get hit compared to anything else.
Right.
Now, what will the 22 do to a person?
0.45 is almost 0.5, which is a half an inch in diameter.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so a 22 will go through somebody. No.
Well, typically what they say, and I'm not a
I guess it depends how close you are and all that kind of stuff.
Now she's talking about something called ballistics. They say that a 22, while it doesn't have the power of most other bullets, they say that because it's light, when it enters the body, it will not go through.
Okay.
But it will bounce around and cause a lot of internal damage.
Oh, okay.
The 22 was a favored weapon of the Chicago mob.
Okay.
They used to walk up to people because it's also quiet.
Quiet, right.
And they would shoot people in the back of the head. But one day, they shot this Asian guy who was a mobster for doing something wrong. Right?
Okay.
They shot him 5 times in the back of the head, and he didn't die. He woke up the next day in the federal witness protection program.
Oh, my God.
He was running his lips about the mob. I mean,
my God.
What did they think would happen, right? So now the AR-15, which the M16 is based on, our military uses. But here's an interesting fact. When you talk about assault weapons, tactical rifles, just for your general information, we're one of the only countries that uses the 223, which is the round. It's like an oversized 22. So it's smaller in diameter, but it's
longer.
It's very accurate.
And that goes in a rifle.
And it's speedy.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, the AR-15, right? And under our law, no rifle can be sold with a barrel shorter than 16 inches unless it's been handled by the feds. Huh?
People saw them off then.
Well, you go to federal prison.
Well, I
understand. If you cut it down to 15 and a half, you're going to go to federal. There's no point to it.
Okay.
I mean,
bad people do it all the time.
Bad people do a lot of stuff. I probably need to caution that I can't deal with
yes. Okay.
Okay. For legal purposes, there are lengths of barrels on many guns, but the shortest barrel that can be sold in the United States would be 16 inches.
Okay.
Unless you go through what's called the Class 3 weaponry.
Okay.
So, yes, now that's just the barrel. You still need the chamber. You still need the stock or a pistol grip. You need something.
Okay.
You need more than the barrel, but the barrel is regulated in length. Same with a shotgun. And yes, people saw shotguns and they use them for bad purposes, but our show is not directed at you. That you people are sawing off your shotguns and rifles.
Is that what you wanted me to remind you about the rifle? You've already covered that.
So
people have them next to their bed.
Well, a rifle would be a really poor thing to put by the bed. I think.
Don't look at me. I have my hand.
I think a shotgun's a poor weapon to put by the bed, but people do it.
Don't they do it for the noise too?
We talked about this one time how people would come into my store and they'd say, I want to buy a shotgun for home defense. And I'm like, well, just give me kind of the overview if you want my input. Well, I'm going to keep it by the bed. Well, is there anybody else live in the house? Is the house secured itself? I mean, so if you have kids, then you can't leave a shotgun by the bed.
Right.
Okay. So I had kids. I didn't leave a shotgun by the bed. I relied upon a handgun.
Gotcha.
So I owned a shotgun, but that was in a safe under key, 500-pound safe. You're not going anywhere with it. So the question becomes, well, how do I defend myself if the shotgun's in the safe? Well, you get a handgun. Well, what's the point? Well, I can put a handgun in a small safe by the bed.
Right.
So it's still secure. Nobody that shouldn't have access to it has access to it. These devices exist, folks. You hear about kids finding guns under the pillow. You don't have to leave a gun under a pillow. Now, the prevailing argument about why we don't require specific methods of security is because some people can't afford a safe. They're not cheap. Sure. But I've got one, bang, 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 pops open. And so people say, well, a shotgun's more effective. And they would say,
the noise scares people. But that's a good thought. But
no, it's not.
I would prefer just to.
No, if you want to do that, just get a tape of a shotgun and make that noise. No. Here's the thing about a shotgun by the bed. So most shotguns carry X number of rounds. Okay. Usually somewhere in the vicinity of 6 cartridges, right? Okay. So I always have one in the chamber.
Yes.
So you could shoot it.
Well, there's one in the chamber of my handgun because I can't pull mine back by myself. It's too hard.
All right. So here's the problem. Ka-chunk, right? Mm-hmm. I just ejected a round before I go to a gunfight. Mm-hmm. I now have one less round. Yeah, that's not a particularly good strategy, ladies and gentlemen. Now, the other alternative is it wasn't loaded to begin with. And when I go ka-chunk, I loaded it. That means I had an unloaded shotgun essentially by my bed.
Right.
I'm not real keen on that protocol either.
Gotcha.
So since I had young people in the house, I've always felt comfortable with a handgun. People say, well, when they hear ka-chunk, they're going to leave. And I'm like, well, what if you went ka-chunk one day and you heard ka-chunk, ka-chunk too? That means there's 2 shotguns on the other side. Now what do you do?
Right.
Clearly you haven't intimidated quite as successfully as you thought.
Exactly. I never thought of it through that way. Oh yeah, that'd be bad if they walked in with guns. I'm hoping that people who are robbing the house aren't armed, but yes, it doesn't work out that way all the time.
So I'm pretty effective with a handgun. I'm pretty comfortable. I can defend. More important than the size of the gun in the house is a strategy. If you have a really legitimate concern, or it doesn't have to be legitimate, who am I to say, about home invasion. That's what that's called. Uh-huh. Okay. The biggest concern is protocol. Like if the kids are in another room and you hear something, how do you secure the children? Right. That's more important to have thought about.
Right. I
agree.
Do
the kids have a safety protocol they're aware to follow? And how do you initiate that protocol? Do you scream, kids?
Well,
go to the safe room.
What
do you do? Well, that's the thing you have to think out.
Right.
That's important to think out. If you're in your bedroom, where are you going to be? For me, I take up behind the bed because if something comes in, like I'm alone, because I've been living alone most of my life. Right. Somebody gets into the bedroom and shoots at me. Oh, they'll hide better than I can. If somebody shoots me, I want the bed to absorb stuff. I don't want to stand there. We're not going to have a gunfight.
Right, exactly.
I'm not standing there going.
Well, and if you're down, and then they're going to have to look for you, and you'll see them right away because you're down.
Right. Yeah, somebody comes in. The other thing is illumination. How do you identify the target? How do you know what the target is? Do you have a flashlight accessible to you? Are you going to be able to practice some kind of protocol with a firearm that assures you that you're doing everything possible to make sure that there's a policeman. Then we do an article, and maybe you weren't here that week, a cop who shot his son who came home to surprise him, or his daughter, shot his daughter that came home to surprise him for his birthday. She came home from college. He shot his daughter. This goes on with some frequency.
God, I used to. Oh my God.
So I had for the longest time a Glock with a flashlight attachment underneath the slide, so I could access. It also had a laser built in. I'm cool, kids. I know. Yes, I'm a liberal with a gun. I'm a cool kid. I had the flashlight and the laser.
He thinks he's cool. Don't be. Oh my God.
So
he thinks he's cool. You are, honey. You are so cool.
Listen, Ann, I said hush my puppies when I lived in Chicago.
And what exactly is hush my puppies?
Well, I always thought it was related to the feet. Hush my puppies, like my feet are tired.
The hush puppy shoes?
Well, I kind of thought that's where it came from, but now I'm reading, I'm thinking, well, how do I get it? Hush my puppies. I thought it meant I'm tired. My feet are tired, right?
Okay.
I need to sit down, hush my puppies, but
maybe it's talking about a hush puppy.
Well, if I had a third computer, I'd just get up. All right. So people don't, people came in and bought guns every day with absolutely they just didn't know what they were doing. I'll give you another example.
I mean, why would you go buy a gun and not learn how to use it? I don't understand that. That just is baffling to me.
That's yet another topic for another show, but let me tell you about this one. People came in all the time. Let's pretend it's you and me. We walk into a gun store. You want to learn to shoot a gun or you want to own a gun, but you don't know. So you ask me and I say, oh yeah, AJ, come with me. I walk in the store and I say, we want to look at a snub nose 38 for my friend here. Oh, well, why do you want a snub nose? Well, she needs a small gun. Where's she going to keep it? By the bed. Okay.
That was pretty good. I'm impressed by it. Hello, that was good. Back up. I got it. Ken was saying, back up. I'm not going to give you the gun. Let's discuss this situation.
Well, here's the thing. The Snub Nose 38, which for years was sold to women, was designed for law enforcement undercover work.
Okay.
Because it's a small gun.
Yes.
It's got a 2-inch barrel.
But it's not light.
No, they're not light.
I know.
They have to be heavy because they're going to shoot a full-size round of a small gun.
I understand, but I'm just saying that's not a great gun to have next to your bed.
But that's the least of your problems.
Okay. I don't like heavy guns.
A Snub Nose 38 also has a lot of recoil because the smaller the firearm, the more the recoil. Okay. Right?
I don't know. Have you ever shot a rifle?
So the only reason to carry a 38 Snub Nose, you're a police officer, you're undercover, you don't want to be exposed by having a large gun. Mm-hmm. So you carry a small gun. Mm-hmm. If I'm going to be in my home, by my bed, it's going to be the largest gun I can accommodate if I'm going to have a gun there.
Right.
Because I don't have to hide it. It's my house.
Right.
So why come in with AJ and try to buy a gun for her that's small and stupid?
Do they think that maybe it's because it's small, the woman's going to be able to handle it better?
Right. And it's a terrible gun. It's inaccurate. It's got a lot of recoil. It's just a crappy gun unless you're somebody who's proficient with it.
Gotcha.
Okay. And who's carrying it for a specific purpose, such as concealment. You've never wanted to carry concealed. You've wanted a home defense. You need as big a gun as you're comfortable with. Mm-hmm. Bigger the better, right? Because boom, I want to hit what I'm firing at. I want to identify the target. I want to make sure it's the target. I want to know what's beyond the other side of the target. And then I want to be able to accurately stop whatever it is that I have fear of. You don't want to kill.
Right.
You want to stop it. So people are engaging in the gun control debate. they lose credibility because by not knowing anything about a firearm, they use the word automatic weapon. Well, people who carry firearms were kind of jerky about it. I'm not so much anymore, but I was. But it's like, no. There's no automatic handguns. You don't even know what you're talking about. So if you don't know what you're talking about, you lost some credibility,
sure.
Right? Yeah. When they talk about these AR-15s and they call them assault rifles, that's marginal, but I get it. I never called them assault rifles. I sold AR-15s, but I sold them because they're a tactical weapon. The flip side is I never sold a hunting rifle. I didn't believe in hunting animals. I believe that you may need a firearm for personal defense, and I was willing to sell you any firearm that I thought was appropriate for personal defense. I was not willing to inventory guns that were used to kill animals.
And you're not a vegetarian.
No, and I'm not very popular in Texas.
Well, look at me. I'm a vegetarian. I'm definitely not popular in Texas.
So there's a lot. And this isn't a gun show, but, we talk about guns with some frequency. And people, most of my northern friends know carry the one. Nothing about guns.
Oh, did you hear that? He's slamming his friends.
Well, I'm just saying they don't know anything about guns. Some of them are brilliant.
Okay, there you go.
I'm progressive.
There we go.
Well, they have their finer features, but when it comes to guns,
guns is not one of them.
No, and they can't.
Well, I'm not one of them.
You can't win an argument if you can't discuss.
But you can make a plastic gun that will shoot.
That's possible. We know. Yes.
So why would the president want to put out the blueprints?
Well, we already decided that the article sucked and didn't explain why.
Well, because there's probably no answer to that.
Well, I think the NRA doesn't like to see itself being anti any gun, even if it's the plastic gun.
Oh.
So I think the NRA told them, just stay away from this. Or, act like you're pro-gun and let this thing go through. That's the only reason.
Wow.
Because he takes a lot of marching orders from the NRA.
Gotcha.
I don't take my marching orders. I've never joined the NRA. I'm not a friend of the NRA because we have differed from day one on how to go about regulating the sale of firearms. And because I advocated what I would call some reasonable restrictions, the most prominent being universal background checks, okay? UBC, because I advocated that as long as 25 years ago, I was a pariah in the firearm community that the NRA was head of. So even though I owned one of the largest gun ranges in town and had a pretty sophisticated operation, trained more than anybody. I did more firearms training in my facility than anybody probably in Texas, any private gun range, hands down. I was doing security, concealed handgun license, private individuals, law enforcement. So I was knocking it out. But when it came to my philosophy about limitations and restrictions, I was treated as an idiot. Well, perhaps I was an idiot. Who knows?
We do have our moments.
I've been called worse. By you, I think.
I have not.
All right, so
I have not.
The show's almost over.
It's 6:53.
I want to quickly one last non-firearm topic.
Okay, yay.
Okay. Hey Sharon. What did that mean? Put me in the zoo. Type unique. Did we say something about a zoo?
Go ahead.
Okay. So there's self-driving vehicles.
Oh, yes.
I'm a big advocate of self-driving vehicles. I think that you can't get to them quickly enough.
But so they rushed. That was Uber's problem.
Well,
they rushed too fast and left
off. Cut some corners.
Yes, they did.
So there's an investigation of this death in Tempe that Uber was conducting an experiment with self-driving vehicles. And now they're saying that, they didn't build in for jaywalkers, for instance.
How can you not build in for jaywalkers?
So the vehicle identified this pedestrian, but didn't know what it was, didn't know how to react. And apparently it went back and forth, identifying it as a pedestrian.
It was a lady pushing her bike.
And a pedestrian, a bike, and a car.
Yeah, didn't know what it was.
So it kept.
So it just skipped and didn't identify any of them, and ran in or killed her.
Yeah. So that has slowed down the industry. So yesterday I went and bought a new battery for my cell phone. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I leave
Did you just get a new cell phone?
Maybe I did. Maybe that's why the battery doesn't seem to have helped. So I took it to this place, Battery Plus.
Yeah, you did. You got a new cell phone recently.
Oh.
Okay, go ahead.
But it was used. So I don't know what the battery
was it refurbished or something?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I drop it off and I walk down the block to a restaurant to have lunch. And I buy my lunch and I'm waiting. It's thing you order at the counter, you sit and you wait, you got your number. I'm waiting and I think, I'm going to look at, no, I'm not. I don't have my phone.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there and I'm trying to divert myself. I didn't bring anything to read. And I look around, everybody who's by themselves like me, every single person
on their phone.
who was by themselves had their phone out.
Yep.
So I'm like, well, I'm phone free. I'm sitting there and I close my eyes, start to meditate and think, I need to call. Oh, I don't have my phone.
Uh-huh.
It kept probably 15 times. I would drift back to, and I thought, my God, I wonder what it would take to break me. How long would I have to be? Well, here's my point. I'd rather have a computer drive a car than the average person who's alone and feels compelled to have their phone operational with them. They're texting, they're talking. I'd rather they're texting and talking, but somebody else is driving or something is driving. People say, well, blah, 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 they're not perfect. Blah, blah, blah. Humans are, is there anybody who can argue that humans are perfect? Oh, I don't want to be run over by a self-driver. Would you feel better being run over by a human? I don't understand this resistance.
Because it's new, it's change, it's scary. Thinking that something is driving on the road with nobody behind it. However, aren't they being driven somewhere by something? Or
so there's supposed to be a human in the car at this point.
Right.
Our technology, who can be alerted to take control of the vehicle.
But there's not in all of them.
And I think even with this Uber, there was a driver, but they didn't take the action quick enough.
Oh.
Or it referred the vehicle to the driver, but it only gives it a window of opportunity.
It was like
the driver doesn't react quick enough,
yeah.
and it goes back to autopilot. And that's what happened with this vehicle. It alerted the driver, but the driver didn't have time to react. So
I like parallel parking. So I wish somebody would I can't do it. So I would like the car to parallel park like those cars do already.
Yeah.
I want that.
I can parallel park.
I can't parallel park. I can't.
Anybody from Chicago can parallel park.
No, you'd think I would be a city girl, but no, I can't parallel park.
Well, you would if you're from Chicago, because that's the only way you park.
Yep.
There's no other way to park. So you're either going to learn it or you're going to keep driving.
I'll just take an Uber.
So, Uber has self-driving cars.
Yeah.
Killed one in Tempe. Did you hear about that?
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah. Let me tell you the biggest shortcoming about Uber. Uber's working on it. How soon?
They're already on the streets.
They're trying to figure out they're running experiments.
I heard that Dallas is the place where they're going to be running experiments because corporate's going here, so that would make sense.
Cool with me. Listen, I'm going to tell you the problem with Uber.
I hope they don't run over you on your bike.
Who?
Uber.
The self-driving vehicle you're talking about?
Because it didn't identify the thing. You're going to have to, when you see an Uber, go the opposite direction.
No. No, quite the contrary.
You're going to run towards it?
No, but I'm not going to run from it. If it's a self-driving vehicle and it's got radar, it's got laser technology.
Well, it didn't work on the woman in Tempe.
She walked in front of a car in the middle of the street. I don't do that now.
Thank God.
Thank God what?
That you don't do that.
Well, do you understand what I'm saying? Even if she'd have done that and there'd have been a real driver, they might have hit her.
I'm following you.
So the point is, I'd rather, and she said, people are hinky about it. I mean,
But people are hinky about it. You know that. They're afraid of the self-driving cars. It scares them. It's something new and different.
I'm not afraid. I welcome it. And I'll tell you why. I would like to text while I'm in the car, and I don't want to do it while I'm driving. So if the car wants to drive itself while I chat or I look up Facebook or whatever it is I'm doing, that's fine with me, because it only takes a second of distracted driving to have a casualty, a fatality.
That's right.
We know that people have fatalities.
What's it say?
Well, what is the other part of the Uber story? I got to have questions that are more helpful, Ginny. What is the other part of the Uber story? Which part?
I don't know. What did you miss?
Oh. You know it. My other part. I said there's another part to it. If your battery dies in your phone, you can't go home. I went to San Francisco.
Oh, your tickets are in there?
No. What? So, no, you can only use the app. You can't call them, right?
Oh, Uber, yeah.
Oh, Saudis in Khashoggi. I don't know anything about that Uber story. So, but let me tell my Uber story. All right. I went to a wedding.
Yes, you can get it.
I didn't have 100% power when I left, but I thought I had enough. I took an extra phone, but I didn't bring anyways, all the fail-safe mechanisms failed. And I was at the wedding, and it was 10 o'clock, and I wanted to go home, and my battery on my phone died. I can't get to Uber.
Couldn't you were you in a hotel?
I was in a restaurant.
Well, they could have called you a taxi.
I didn't think of that.
Go old school, dude. Old school. Call a taxi.
So I'm so Ubered up in San Francisco because every time you say I need a ride, somebody says Uber. I had never Ubered before.
Oh, yeah.
My first real Uber was to the airport in Dallas because the night before I left town, I said to Stacia, my daughter, I said, so you're taking me to the airport in the morning? Oh, is that tomorrow? Yes, honey, that's tomorrow. Remember I told you? Yes, but you didn't remind me. Well, I didn't know I had to remind you. Well, I can't take you.
Okay.
Well, I couldn't take me. I'm going to work. Well, when did you schedule work? A couple hours ago. So I'm like, she's like, why don't you Uber? Because I have a daughter.
Yeah, exactly. Who lives at my house.
Who has a car I pay for.
Who lives at my house.
So I Ubered at 5 o'clock in the morning. 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. That was my first real Uber on my own.
Was it an enjoyable experience? No?
Oh, it wasn't bad. She was a young Hispanic woman with a van. It was fine. Or an SUV. She drove very cautiously. She did a good job. Okay.
Yeah, good. Yeah. I'm glad.
And all the Uber drivers in San Francisco I used, I thought drove very responsibly. They weren't.
Did you rate them? Did you go in and rate them?
Yeah, I did. I did. Good. Now the other thing is when you're Ubering as opposed to taxing, because I took many a taxi in my life.
Right.
When you get stuck at a traffic light for a long time, you know how you're watching that meter spin.
Right.
When you're in an Uber, you already know what you're going to pay.
Oh, that's cool.
So you can sit there for
even
5 minutes.
Even like when it takes an hour to
they
go 2 miles?
tell you immediately. When you sign up, it tells you what you're going to be charged.
Okay.
And you can actually pick a luxurious Uber and pay a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
You can pick a regular Uber, or in my case, I picked the carpool.
Oh, so that people could share it with you?
Other people could share it, but nobody was ever.
Nobody wanted to share with you, honey. No.
Well, I don't know that anybody didn't want to. Nobody was. And so the Uber driver says, I come get him.
Okay.
So there I am at the wedding, and I couldn't call in for a car. My battery was dead.
Okay, that sucks.
All right. So I had to go to the bride's father, my oldest friend, and he had to order me a vehicle. And that's how I got home. All right, so Ginny sent us, but I can't hit the button.
Why not?
Because I'm afraid of what will happen.
Okay.
Uber CEO backtracks after calling Saudi murder of Khashoggi a mistake. Do you know about this?
Nope.
Was he calling a mistake that they shouldn't have done it because of the political fallout? Were they saying it was just a mistake? They didn't mean to kill him? I didn't hear about this.
I don't know.
Why would the Uber CEO? Did I say Suber? Why would the Uber CEO have bupkis?
To do with Uber?
Bupkis, have anything? Bupkis is nothing. Why would it have anything to say about Khashoggi?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Why? Or the opposite is what I'm saying.
Is the owner of, the CEO? Is he a Saudi or something?
Well, this is what I've been told. I don't know if this is true, people out there, but I've been told not to take Uber, to take Lyft, because Uber is friends of Trump and Lyft is not. So I prefer Lyft.
Well, Kathy, have you heard of that before? Everywhere she goes, and she takes a portable battery for her phone.
Kathy, have you heard that about Uber, that they're good friends of Trump?
So
I don't know.
I should tell you that I have a portable battery, and it was in Dallas while I was in California. I brought a backup phone that has a battery in it, but you can't take the battery out. I took that phone with me at the last minute. I said, well, but I had taken out the SIM card holder and left it at the hotel. So I couldn't put the SIM. So the best laid plans of mice and men.
Oh my God.
Oh, a mistake like when Uber killed a person with their self-driving car? Yeah. Khashoggi wasn't quite... They have a lot of business in Saudi. Yeah, well, that's despicable when they do that kind of stuff. When they defend their financial interest over, justice, life, people that stand up for China because they got big contracts, whatever it is. But at this point, Trump said something I agree with in some regards.
Hold on, wait.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, he was being interviewed.
Wow.
And he was asked about something we did, which was heinous. We bombed something,
And you're agreeing with him on this?
I'm agreeing with what he said. He said, it's not like we don't, Putin did something. A lot of people or some other country was doing something that was heinous. And his response in the interview is, like, we haven't done the same thing. This I agree with. I mean, we are self-righteous while we are the most militant country active of Western industrialized nations, and we're bombing in 5 or 6 countries per day.
I know.
Okay. I happen to agree that we are nobody to look down our noses at anybody that's using oppression until we get our own house clean. But on the other hand, we don't need to excuse other people's oppression. There's a great movie out, and then we're done. I went to the movies yesterday.
Okay.
I saw Jojo Rabbit. It's a small film, right? And you got to see it.
Okay.
Jojo Rabbit is about a young boy who's a member of the Nazi youth group and during World War II, and he discovers his mother is hiding a Jewish girl in their attic.
Anne Frank?
No, it wasn't based on reality.
I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Jojo Rabbit was a really sleeper of a movie. So you walk in.
It was a sleeper.
I won't spoil it for you. A sleeper because you didn't see it coming.
Oh, okay.
You don't realize you're getting into a real.
Was there a lot of blood or anything in it, or gore?
No.
Totally opposite?
No, first off, it's comedic in a lot of regards and poignant in other regards. So understand, he discovers a Jewish girl in their attic.
Okay.
And he's a virulent Nazi.
Right.
This kid, the little kid, well, about 12. Mm-hmm. And his imaginary friend is Adolf Hitler. He thinks so highly of Adolf Hitler. So what to do? He's discovered a Jew in the attic. Well, when he kind of feels out what he should do by asking the leader of the local Nazi, what will happen if a Jew is discovered in somebody's home? And they say, well, the Jew will be killed, and probably whoever harbored them.
Sure.
So he realizes his mom could be killed.
Right.
So he's in this dilemma.
Okay.
And the movie proceeds from there, and twists and turns, and comedic. Sam Rockwell plays a Nazi. Rebel Wilson plays a Nazi. This kid does a good job. And then there's a kid that reminded me of Piggy from Lord of the Rings in the movie, a fat kid with glasses. Yes, Radine, it is really, really good.
I'll have to go see it. Where did you see it?
It's at the North Park right at the moment.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I went in because I like movies. I like getting away.
I know, I do too.
For 2 hours, and movies, if people don't have their phones on, it really works well for me. So I went to see Jojo Rabbit because I saw the trailers, and I really was impressed. Okay. I thought The Joker was an excellent movie too.
I can't see that.
That blew my mind.
I can't see that. It's too deep for me. If
you want your mind blown,
yeah, it's too deep for me.
Yeah. Otherwise, stick with Jojo, the Jojo Rabbit.
Why'd they call it Jojo Rabbit?
His name is Jojo, or his nickname is Jojo. And early in the film,
he's a rabbit.
He's at a Nazi camp, and the teacher tells him, the leader tells him, if you're willing to kill him, he said, of course I'm willing to kill you. You don't want to look bad.
Right.
So they hand him a rabbit and say, kill the rabbit.
Oh.
And so you'll see what happens from there. Okay?
No. All right, I thought you said there wasn't any blood or gore. They killed the rabbit.
I didn't say there wasn't any blood and gore. You said it's a bloody, gory movie, and it's not.
Well, is there any other shootings where people are dead?
Well, there's a war going on.
Oh.
And it's called World War II.
I was hoping it was the story without the bullets, okay? So that you don't see blood.
You see some blood. You see there's a battle scene.
Okay.
There's a battle scene.
Maybe I could just close my eyes during that.
There's some poignant moments, and they're poignant because it's about the Jewish situation in Germany.
Okay.
So it's not good.
Okay.
Okay. That ends our show. Cosmic Yogi Festival here, publisher of DallasYogaMagazine.com.
I feel like biting your thumb right
and she teaches yoga at 11 o'clock on Mondays at the Sun Yoga Center. And I try to go to that.
And Thursday morning, 7 a.m. at Sun.
Yes.
Oh, and I have a Kundalini workshop Saturday at Frisco, Horizon Hot Yoga in Frisco at 2 p.m. Yay.
She's a yogi. I'm a lawyer.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, and I teach meditation at the Buddhist Temple here at 844 Stoltz Road every Wednesday night.
How's the temple doing
7?
after the tornado? I mean, inside, it's okay.
Suffering. Oh, the inside's okay. The outside's kind of
I know it doesn't look.
Yeah, but everything's all right. Okay. So that's my deal. I would tell you to call me if you need legal help, but I've been thinking about it. Screw that.
Are you doing reverse psychology like Howard Stern does?
Well, I've been a lawyer for a long time. I'm really good at it, but people gotta wanna, you gotta wanna be represented. You gotta wanna pay your lawyer. There's got to be a lot of wannas.
Well, maybe you're going to the wrong target market.
People will hire somebody for a lot more money than they will hire me because the other person will tell them what they want to hear. Yeah. And I'm not good at that. That's just bull, So don't hire me. Go hire the high price spread. I really don't
call
care.
Ken. He's a lawyer in 3 different states. He's incredible. He'll help you out. Give caller Ken.
I'm going to be 67 in less than a month.
Woo! When's your birthday?
It's time to retire.
When is it?
Well, if I give it out, then everybody
it's already on
steal
Facebook.
My identity.
It's already on Facebook.
December 4th.
Oh, okay.
Be 67.
Ooh.
That's older than pretty much anybody listening to this show. If I'm seeing correctly.
Oh my lordy!
By a considerable amount.
67.
All right. Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you for tuning in to Ken Goldberg's Law and Disorder with me, AJ. Give Ken a call for attorney. Look at Dallas Yoga Magazine. Yay! And we'll see you next week at 6 o'clock Tuesday.
Well, now I have.